Kind of About Music podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Kind of About Music podcast. Today's episode is with Sam Weston, who's a bass player and session musician based in London. Sam's currently playing for 3 different artists, the first artist is Etherwood, which you can get at etherwood.co.uk. He also plays with Calista Kazuko, and her website will be up soon at calistakazuko.co.uk. And he plays... he's just finished a tour recently with a blues guitarist called Krissy Matthews. They've just been touring Europe, and you can find Krissy Matthews at chrissymatthews.com, and I'll put those links in the description so you can find them. Sam's one of the first guys that I met on the London scene, on the session scene, and introduced me to a lot of the jams and a lot of the players that I work with now and I know and I hang out with and stuff, and who hopefully are going to be on the podcast too. He's a great guy, he's a lot of fun, he's got a great musical brain, he knows hundreds of songs. He's the guy at the jam night that if you can't remember the key that a song's in that's come up, you just shout across to Sam and he'll tell you. He'll give you the tempo and the structure and everything else too. The podcast was a lot of fun to record actually, because I've been talking to Sam about doing that for a while, and as I say, he just got back off tour, so it was nice to do that and get that sorted. Unfortunately, my camera's on the blink at the moment. It's having a bit of a crisis. So the footage cuts out at about 40 minutes. But the audio carries on. I think it's just before I play an Incubus tune. So, yeah, I know most people have it on in the background and just listen to it anyway. So I don't think it's a massive deal that there's no footage on the last half. But I am trying to get that sorted out. So hopefully that will be sorted soon. Sam also hosts a lot of jams in London, and I'm playing at the jam that he often plays at in Hammersmith on Wednesday called Marmalade Jams, hosted by Chelsea. You can find it on Facebook, and if you find my page JimGuitarMan, I'll stick a link to it up on that as well. So come down and check it out. I'm going to be doing the guitar that night, but Sam's actually not playing that night. He's actually got somebody else stepping in for him. But if you want to catch Sam, every other Wednesday night at Smith's cocktail bar in Hammersmith is a good place to catch him. It's great hanging, it's good. It's a great vibe and everything. Sometimes jam nights can feel a bit cliquey, but this one's actually really nice. Everyone's super cool. There's no pressure. Get up and do what you want. I'll put all the links in the description. And other than that, enjoy the podcast. And yeah, sorry about the camera cutting out, but the rest of it should be pretty decent. So enjoy.
cool. That works.
Yeah, man. Sam, thank you for coming on my podcast.
No worries, man.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Now that I've figured out what the guitar part's doing.
I know. It's such a mental tune. I didn't want to pick one to throw one at you, but I did, so that's fine.
No, it's cool. As Chicken Grease by D'Angelo.
Yeah.
I remember for ages, like my friend was talking. Anna, she was on one of the old podcasts, and she was on one of the podcasts that I'd done before, and she was like, she's a massive D'Angelo fan, and she's always saying, and like, it's like Prince. When I first started listening to Prince, like I couldn't get it. I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Kind of what was going on, how to listen to it.
I know. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. It's kind of like you've got to listen to it multiple times, I think, and then gradually it strips away the layers of like this kind of crazy, confusing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but he's on that album that's from, it's like he's deliberately trying to throw people off.
Yeah.
And like it's something that so many bands and artists seem to do with like their second albums or album number 2 after Fame, like Nirvana with In Utero. It's this like crazy, like distorted, weird mess of stuff. And you have to find the songs and stuff. Same with like Weezer when they did Pinkerton. And then D'Angelo, like that record is like, it's so deliberately like produced in a really weird way, and it's like, it's just odd, like how it feels, but like it's still kind of quite cohesive as well. Yeah,
you have to kind of work a little bit to find the, as you say, the song or the groove that you want. It's not obvious.
Exactly.
So it's kind of, I suppose that gets rid of idiots, doesn't it?
Well, I guess
well, it got rid of me for a while.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like with his first album, stuff like Brown Sugar, and like Dreamin' Eyes of Mine and stuff is like clean.
Yeah.
And then it's like all this dirty stuff. I mean, that tune, like musically, there's so much going on that like makes it really weird. Like the reason I love that bass line is like it never resolves.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of on an F sharp sort of thing ish.
Yeah.
But like he never really plays that bass line. I mean, I'm not playing as well as Pino does it, but like it's like he's missing out the root note on the 1, so it should kind of go like this, right? I guess. That's how it should go.
Yeah.
So like finishing and ending with the root. But he does this instead, so 3, 4. So it starts on the 3rd. And then takes up to the 7th, and then like never resolves it. And it's just this, if you like break it away, it's like, whoa, it's like so he's like deliberately like trying to push people away, like even with just the bass line and stuff.
Yeah, and it's making you imagine what the root is. You almost hear the root even though he doesn't play it. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, it's Pino Palladino, that's what you said, isn't it? The first time I came across him was when my dad was playing all the, what's it, Paul
Young.
Paul Young,
man.
Like some of that stuff's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. But that's like his fretless days. So like everything fretless with an octave pedal. He was like, I'm going to do what synths can do, but like make it sound like a human being as well.
But he was really, I was watching something, someone was telling me something where they'd listened to him talking about it, and he was really self-conscious about this, wherever I lay my hat is home.
The tuning.
He was like, I feel like my intonation's out, and then it's gross. And then the next time he heard it, like he tried to get him to stop it from releasing it. And they were like, no, it sounds great.
I know, exactly.
And then he heard it on the radio, and it was like this massive hit.
I know, man. It just makes you want to hate yourself though when Pino's like, it's not good enough. But it's like you listen to it and it's just, what is it? It's... That's the line, isn't it?
Yeah. It's got that crazy chorus on it as well, hasn't it?
Goes up the C, yeah. It's cool, but like, it's just such a good bass line.
Did he do the bass line on Music for Chameleons?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the Alan Partridge one.
Oh, it should be more like,
The
the
best thing about that episode, there's an episode of Alan Partridge where he's waiting for the taxman. Everybody's favourite door.
Of course.
Guest. And he's dancing around and Music for Chameleons by who's it?
Gary Newman.
Gary Newman.
Yeah.
And and at the end when they knock on the door, he takes the egg. He's got the air bass. He takes it off.
1 second. Yeah, it's so good.
Puts it on the rack.
So good. I love it, man. I mean, but it's really weird with that. Like that. That's kind of how I found out about that tune and about Gary Newman, and then like by kind of consequence finding out about Paul Young stuff with Pino playing on it. So I don't know, it's weird where you get music from, isn't it?
Well, I think a lot of the best comedians are really into music, and if you watch any of Coogan's stuff, it's always got Steve Coogan's stuff. It's always got a lot of musical gags in it, like Saxondale. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah. Well, he's like a rocker, isn't he?
He's like an old roadie and stuff like that. But he's got all the kind of like, you can watch it as a muso and be like. There's a level of comedy.
Spinal Tap stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, those kind of moments.
But a friend of mine was in a band, and the famous band, I don't know the name any names, but they were on tour, and they kind of, they met him and then he kept calling him up and wanting to hang out. And it's cool. I think maybe in the end they maybe got kind of like,
yeah.
oh, it's Coogan again.
Right, okay, fine, good, yeah. Imagine being at that point where like, oh no, this massively famous comedian keeps calling us. What a bother.
But right. I think they get a thing with the crossover, like with comedians and musicians, is that a lot of successful comedians want to be musicians.
Yeah.
Or rock stars.
Yeah,
a lot of successful rock stars want to be comedians.
Yeah,
like,
I guess so.
My mate was roadieing for Kasabian and he said Noel Fielding would turn up all the time. Him and Serge were best mates, and he'd have like a load of like plaster of Paris heads that he was going to chuck out in the audience in the middle of it.
But, I mean, that guy's like a force unto his own, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Like he's just weird. But yeah, they bring him on, don't they, for like a tune? Like, is it like Vlad the Impaler or something like that?
Yeah.
He's like
he's in the
supposed to be
video.
the character of that's it. So,
but then in Mighty Boosh as well, they're always doing like Julian Barrett, like he's obviously a musician as well. So there's always that link there.
Oh yeah, it's true, man. Like, do you know Matt Berry?
Yeah, I love Matt Berry.
Like he's done like 4 records or something, and he's written all the music for some of the shows he's in. Like he was in this show called Snuffbox.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen bits of it.
Yeah. It's like pretty obscure. It's kind of weird. I mean,
it's
really out there stuff.
Yeah, it's a clip show, isn't it? It's like a sketch show.
There's
one. I remember one where he boots this woman's dog. Or something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But there's like a theme running through the whole thing. But all the music is 2 chords.
Yeah.
Everything composed in it, I think he's made it out of 2 chords.
Right.
But like just in different styles and different voicings and stuff, and it's all really cool. But then it's good that it's kind of that's the whole complete work of art, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's creative minds want to express it in lots of different ways.
Yeah.
It isn't like that's why musicians end up doing music videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Like light shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Matt Berry interviewed Queens of the Stone Age once as well.
Yeah, I've seen that.
You've seen that.
So good,
That's
man.
really good.
Yeah.
I think Josh Homme as well. Like he kind of wants to be. You can see he's got an idea of like he likes doing the comedy stuff as well,
man.
like Eagles of Death Metal and all that stuff.
Exactly.
They are hilarious.
Yeah, man. Well, he's just a weird guy as well, so I guess that helps, you know.
Yeah, I think wasn't his dad governor of like Arizona or something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, so
Good.
he's like, I think he's had a good background. I might be totally wrong with that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. A lot of stuff to laugh about.
Dave Grohl's, like him and Dave Grohl are big mates, but Dave Grohl's mum and dad were like Washington speechwriters and like
Really amazing
investment bankers. So I think like. Sometimes when Dave Grohl talks about, and I might be totally wrong with that, and if I have, I apologise, because I know people who've met him and they said he's like the nicest guy.
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
But at the same time, if you've got that sort of background where you can kind of sacrifice your life and just go off and just do music, can't you? Then where you
it's true. It's true. Yeah, you got nothing to lose, really, have you?
I feel like that a bit, but not taking anything away from the guy.
No, of course. You know. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, to be fair, like if you're going to do that, at least he's made the best of it, and like is a nice guy and is like quite a philanthropist as well, and also just makes good music and stuff.
A musical philanthropist. Have you seen the thing that Dave Grohl did about Sound City with the Neve desk?
Yeah. That's really cool, and just honouring the heritage of it as well. And just just little things like wasn't there that band that in Cornwall that like wanted to practice, right? And then he sent a message to the local council being like, basically let these kids practice otherwise. But it's amazing that he can just like. He's the only guy that can name drop it and just be like, you know, you have to let these kids practice because otherwise, you know, I wouldn't have had Nirvana or I wouldn't have had the Foo Fighters if you didn't allow me to practice in my garage, you know. Unfortunately, we're not all privileged to have that level of musical success.
Yeah, it makes a difference from people like Metallica attacking kids, their own fans and stuff.
I know,
like that.
yeah. Oh, but you know, we could go on about Metallica for ages.
Well, yeah. At the same time, with that side of it, I mean, look what you've got now. You've got Spotify and iTunes and stuff, and artists aren't getting paid. Anywhere near what they should have. So I think Metallica got a lot of stick for all that stuff with Napster, but if you think about it, I mean, it wasn't about them being millionaires. They don't care about how much money they've got. I think they got a bit of a bad kind of rep with that.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
I think maybe they were trying to take a stand for artists on the principle.
Well, they're definitely ahead of a curve because like now everyone's like, the whole thing now is that to equal the salary of Spotify employees, you need something like 22 million streams or something like that, or nearly 23 million. Yeah. But I mean, those figures are kind of unrealistic, obviously, because that's saying that you're basically saying, so you're going to let your entire salary be made up by streams of one song. But it's kind of coming across as this multifaceted thing. You know, you release music and it hopefully gets bought, hopefully gets streamed. People come see your live shows, all this stuff. You sell merchandise, and kind of all of those things all together make your career. So it's a bit unrealistic to say, you know, you need this many streams to make a salary, because that's not realistic for anyone, really, you know.
It's definitely a complex argument. It's like But I think nowadays with the internet and technology and stuff, and the ability to create stuff, you almost have. There's almost an opportunity for musicians that I don't think the music industry or independent musicians take as well as, for instance, like I listen to a lot of comedians in America.
Yeah.
They own all their own stuff pretty much, and musicians could do that as well. But you've got to start looking outside of the industry and record labels and stuff. Yeah. It's a tricky thing because the labels and Spotify and all that sort of thing is the thing of how you get the exposure.
Of course, yeah, exactly. And you don't want to shun that because then you're basically cutting off your nose to spite your face, aren't you? Like you're kind of getting rid of a whole potential fan base. Yeah. But it's also just it's this constant thing that comes up in music and musicians in everything from like, you know, selling music online to like pub gigs to like, you know, gig tickets or whatever. Like musicians and music are kind of constantly undercutting each other. Like people are always trying to do things cheaper or trying to do things in a different way that means people have to pay less and stuff. And it's one of the only art forms I think that has suffered like that, you know. Like no fine art guy has been like, oh, I'll give you my painting for 20 quid or whatever. Or, you know, or if you do a pledge, let's do a pledge art campaign. You know, all of you put in $2 to come and have one look at my fine art piece. You know? It just doesn't work like that. Like and music has kind of been, I don't know. It's on one hand, it's been diluted a little bit, I think, by different avenue streams like that, different avenues like that, even. But on the other hand, I guess then more people can access it, and maybe that is better. I don't know, but it's a thing that goes round and round, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Let's just backtrack a second. This is Sam Weston. Sam Weston's a session musician based in London. He's one of the first guys that I met on the sessions kind of jam scene in London. And you actually introduced me to the jam scene because I'd been in London for like a year and a half. And not had any connections with anybody that went to the sort of jams. I've been to the Hoxton jam, you know, the Fusion one.
Oh yeah.
Where it's kind of.
But that's scary, man.
Yeah, it's like the first hour is the house band scaring the crap out of everybody there, just like people in the audience shivering.
They're all super nice guys, man.
They are.
And they're all like, but then they're all crazy good musicians and stuff. But if it's definitely a baptism of fire if you're going to go to like jams and you turn up at this one and someone's playing Mike Stern at you. You know?
Exactly. So that was the first one that I'd ever been to, and I kind of wasn't sure about how realistic it was to try and get into that world stuff from nothing. But then I met you on the Rationale audition. He's doing really well now. I get it on my Facebook feed.
I know, and neither of us got it, so that's fine.
But our mate Johnny got it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly.
Johnny Brister. He's going to be on the podcast soon.
Oh, sweet, cool. Yeah, we'll smash it.
I'm doing a gig with him. Like I haven't done a singing gig in ages, so I'm doing a trio singing.
Yeah, that's cool. That's gonna be.
So Johnny's going to be on it, so he's probably going to be laughing at me afterwards.
Well, you know, you can reflect on your experiences and talk about it. But no, it should be cool, man. I mean, like. If you fronting bands is wicked, obviously, and like if you can do that, then it's just another level of employability, isn't it, and stuff.
I mean, as you said it to me a while ago, that it's like the idea of playing at least 3 times a week, trying to get more than that, you know. And we were talking as well, like it doesn't matter. Midweek gigs, you can sometimes you might get 80 quid or 60 quid even, but it's not about that. It's about getting out and playing, meeting people, playing new styles, trying to fit in with new band members.
Exactly.
And I remember there was a time when I was doing. When I met you on the audition, where a lot of the work that I was doing was acoustic work for solo singers, female solo singers, and a bit of the rockioke stuff, and that was contacts that I kind of already had. So being in a band situation, I'd become a bit uncomfortable with kind of improvising or fitting in with drummers and stuff, because that's the thing that you just get a kind of knack off from doing.
Yeah, of course, Playing with the same musicians, you get so used to it, don't you, basically?
But now playing all the time with different people and going to the jams and all that sort of thing, and it's a lot more fun. It's a lot easier, and you just can snap back into it once you're on the kind of roll with it. I was getting to a point where I was getting frustrated with not being able to get into that world. But so we started going to the Natalie Palmer's jam in Spitalfields.
Yeah, that was cool.
But she doesn't do that. I was talking to her the other day. She's amazing, by the way. I did a gig with her. She orchestrate. It was only like a trio. It was like me on acoustic. It was a guy called CJ. You know CJ?
CJ,
On Cajon and Natalie singing.
Cool.
And she just made it so easy. It's like we'd never played together.
Oh, so good.
Just a bar gig at Barrio East, and she did it last minute. Sent me the songs that she knew, and so she's got all the hand signals going on. But hand signals that make sense, because singers do hand signals to you sometimes and don't make sense. So exactly. She's like, I think it's like verse, chorus, bridge.
Bridge is good.
Finish.
That's a good one. Exactly.
Finish. So
good.
And all that, and we kind of, I think we did every song, and there wasn't a mistake. Finished everyone dead on, like
amazing.
Because you know what it's like when you doing with depths or guys or girls you haven't played with before.
Everyone,
the endings
got their own endings.
And everybody's kind of. But it was super easy and super, and obviously her voice is crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Awesome. But like, it's been cool going to the jam nights, and I think, I mean, it's funny. I kind of told you about that, but I've been super slack with it lately and everything, you know. But
well, it's summer, isn't it? It's busy. You're looking at your calendar, you're 4 or 5 gigs in a week and stuff like that.
Exactly. And you want to go out like for extra nights of jamming as well and stuff. But it just becomes like, you know, if you're already out gigging and then you've got to do the gig, then you've got to pack up, then you've got to get to the jam. You get there in the last half an hour, and it's like, you know, you might not even get up to play or whatever. But I think jams get a bit of a bad rep from some people because they think it's like people just trying to show off in front of each other and stuff. And I think, I don't know, I think I've always approached it from the thing of like just playing music with new people.
Social thing as well for me. It was a massive social, because I didn't know any like-minded musical people in London. It was just like friends of my girlfriend and stuff like that, who were kind of, as you call muggles. I call civilians. A friend of mine said, what do you call them? SAUs. Sound absorption units.
Nice. Amazing.
No, we like the public, but
we do like the public.
But I didn't. That's all I knew. I didn't know any musicians. Very many. So that, for me, the jams, whether you play or not, you're watching and learning, but also a social thing of just being able to turn up any night of the week, pretty much, and hang out with your mates.
Oh yeah, and there's like, because you are saying to people, come and play music in this place with these other musicians and stuff, naturally everyone's going to congregate to that kind of space. So like, rather than saying like, oh, do you want to go for a pint, man? Yeah, cool. And then there's only 2 of you hanging out and stuff. It's like, oh, we can do that, and then we can also kind of go to the different groups and stuff that are there. And the jam's
like
cool, man.
Being at uni, kind of almost.
I know,
like, which is weird because I'm 31. So how did you start off with bass, and what, like, because how old are you?
I'm 22.
You're 22.
Yeah. But I started off. It's weird, man. It's like, it's kind of a mix of a couple of like obvious things. Like, I was in a band. Actually, when I was like 12, my older brother, who plays guitar and still plays guitar, he's not like full-time musician, but he's still playing a bit of guitar and stuff. He just had a band. I think it was kind of the next step up from. Did
you try real hard?
Good. I think it was like
Jimmy
brilliant, amazing. It was like the next step up from like video games or like whatever you do. So I don't know. When you're 10, you're like into watching nothing but like cartoons. When you're like 12, you like video games, and then when you're 14, you form a band. That was kind of the natural progression for him, I guess. And then I was like 12 at the time, and they just kind of used to hang out in our garage and just practice and stuff. And then I would just join in with them and like sing basically when I was 12. But then the problem was that I was like way too self-conscious to sing in front of anyone, and also I probably couldn't sing back then, you know. But whatever. Eventually got to the point where they needed a bass player because they had keys, drums and guitar, and so I just kind of decided to learn bass just to kind of stay in that band to keep my place and everything. But it was also just because something about it sounds really cheesy. Something about like listening to the records I was listening to, I would always just gravitate towards kind of bass lines, and I would pick up my brother's guitar and learn the bass parts. And I don't really know why. I think it's just maybe those bits.
I think when you're a teenager, like we listened to a lot of hip hop. Like we had Dr. Dre's album and Wu-Tang on and just non-stop, and it was always the bass that you were more interested in. I think it's a kind of, it's the most immediate, and it's the thing that that you listen, that you dance to.
Exactly. Well, it's holding it together as well, isn't it? I guess that's what people say. Drums and guitar, and then bass is in the middle, kind of the rhythmic and melodic link. But it was the Chili Peppers was like the first band I was probably into. I think everyone's got their band that they're into, and it's usually either like Blink-182 or the Chili Peppers, or like someone else who's, I don't know, like Sum 41 or something like that. Rage, There's like kind of that group of bands from like the 90s that you're into one of them and you're obsessed with them, you know. And mine was the Chili Peppers, and obviously naturally you're going to find a lot of bass heavy stuff on that, like the Blood Sugar Sex Magic record. Like that was massive for me, and I loved that album, and would just kind of listen to the bass parts on that, and then just try and pick them up on the guitar, basically, you know, and just learn them.
Yeah, I think that album was the kind of thing that everybody said, like the bass players that knew said, right, you want to learn how to play bass, you want to learn how to play slap bass and all that sort of thing. Go and learn Blood, Sex, Sugar Magic. Because it's kind of like organised version of Parliament or P-Funk, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, I was listening
to
I was listening to Mellowship of Slinky the other
day.
And that's kind of like that, isn't it? There's some bits in that, like, they've got the kind of the shout out bits and all that sort of thing where it's very Parliament like.
Definitely. Well, like, just kind of it's got like the intro, and then it's got kind of a couple of repeated grooves where different sort of improvised bits are happening over the top and stuff. And then, I mean, the thing is, it's weird, like, being so into the Chili Peppers and then having a perspective from kind of music beyond that and just being like, oh, I mean, they're good, but like, and they're doing their whole funk rock thing, but that's like uniquely them. And they've had like, you know, if you want real funk, you've got to listen to Parliament, you've got to listen to James Brown, you've got to listen to Sly and the Family Stone. If you want real rock, you've got to listen elsewhere. But the Chili Peppers do kind of bridge that gap and have this kind of unique thing going on, you know.
They've definitely got a place. Like, they actually, they got to a bit where they became a bit coffee table pop sort of thing.
Well,
but now they've got the new guitar player who's young, and I think they feel like the last album I thought was quite interesting. I
loved it, man. Yeah, I saw them on that tour as well. Yeah,
I tell you what else I saw. I saw Prince a couple of years ago. Where was it? Was it Shepherd's Bush Empire?
That's amazing, man.
Got him for a tenner.
Sweet.
Talk about Parliament. George Clinton was stood on a balcony just like that all the
way
way to
Amazing. Oh my god, that guy. There was one amazing video at Glastonbury with Mark Ronson doing Uptown Funk, and it was like the summer when that tune came out, so obviously it was massive. And he was bringing on all these musical guests, and it was like Mary J. Blige, who was like singing it with him, which was wicked. Grandmaster Flash, who was scratching over it. A couple of other people I can't remember, and then like just George Clinton. And literally George Clinton's only thing he did was he just went off the top of it. But it's like, that's kind of, I guess that's what funk's about, you know.
They were on Jules Holland, and then there was about 40 people on stage.
I know, it's wild. Like, no one knows how big that band is now, you know. They've even forgotten themselves, probably.
I think he's got a lot of his family, like sons and nephews and stuff.
Standard, good.
Let's try and jam something. Do Mellowship Slinky.
Yeah, let's do it.
Try that. Let me see if
that's a good tune. Yeah, C sharp.
Okay.
Start on the 6th.
This is quite an interesting pedal. It's got a 90s setting.
Okay, nice.
So it's like a bit more compressed.
Good. Does that make you really angsty? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. Okay,
Nice. All right.
I might not remember all of the.
All right, let's see how we get on. That's cool. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It goes on forever, doesn't it?
Something like that. And then it's back to the groove. And then it's that cool solo section, but like all that stuff escapes you.
I was like Funky Monks as well.
Oh yeah. In B's cool, yeah. Yeah. That bass line's got one note in it, basically. But it's just so heavy, man.
That album's great. Have you seen a documentary about it where they're like in the haunted house? And Rick Rubin's there.
Yeah. It's wild, man. And then on the liner notes, like on the pit, like the inside cover picture, there's just like this mark on the camera.
Yeah,
they're
there is.
Like, it's a ghost. Like they're like, we don't know how they got there.
Yeah.
But they're all obviously like massively high when they made that entire album. So probably just making something up like that. But
rent a big house in California. Was it in California?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, they sing about it enough, don't they? So,
well, it reminded me of like Incubus did it, didn't they? When they did Morning View, they did.
They rented the house, yeah.
They rented a house on the beach,
yeah.
like. And I was
thing to do, man.
Yeah, when I was at college and I was listening to the album and I saw the picture on the side of it and they're all just sat there, I was like, oh, that's. There was like they were doing video clips on MTV about it where they're recording it all set up in a living.
Yeah, that's it. They did MTV Cribs as well for that house.
That's right. Yeah.
Just like that. There's nothing more late '90s than that.
Yeah.
They did Cribs.
Do you know, at that time as well, every girl I ever went out with was obsessed with Brandon Boyd. So something.
Yeah.
Brandon Boyd as well, and then, like I went to see him quite a few times. Like especially when what was the album after that? That's got Six Sad Little World and Megalomania.
Crow Left the Murder.
Yeah. That was a great album because they had a new bass player on that one.
Yeah. Ben Kenny.
Yeah, and but every girl I ever went out with was obsessed with. And then you go to the gig and then halfway through he takes his t-shirt off and he's doing the African drum and stuff like
standard.
Put shit back on me.
I know.
I was enjoying the music till he did that.
Yeah, I mean, but then they're all like phenomenal players as well. And I think that's kind of what can help me get past it. I mean, you're talking about Ben Kenny. My friends are going to lambast with him when they watch this because I talk about him all the time. But he's like my favourite musician, man. Yeah. I've got his signature here actually.
No
on
way.
The back of the headstock. Yeah, that was quite a good link, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, check it out.
But I like met him and hung out with him and just on a really kind of chance happening and it was cool. But no, I don't know. It's I never thought I'd be massively into his playing because like he's a guitarist before being a bassist.
Okay,
he started off as a drummer and then picked up guitar and then picked up bass basically. And he started off playing guitar in the Roots. That was kind of his big thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So he did like one album with them. He did the Phrenology album, which has got some wicked parts in it and some amazing tunes as well. But then I only found out about that through liking Incubus, so it kind of went back, and then from that comes the Roots, and then from that comes D'Angelo and Erykah Badu and all those things. It's again like it's weird where it comes from, you know. But
Erykah Badu always sounds like she sounds like a reincarnation of Billie Holiday to me. You know, like she's like I'm guessing she's stoned a lot.
Yeah, she must
and
be.
She's got like kind of lazy delivery where it's kind of like, and Billie Holiday had the same thing.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you just got to read Erykah Badu's Twitter feed really to know that like there's something going on there.
Cool.
You know?
Well, with the Billie Holiday, apparently like, she just smoked so much weed in sessions. Like, she had a really tragic life, didn't she? Actually? But she used to smoke so much weed in sessions that the musicians would come in and like, God, Billy, you got to open a window. In
Amazing, brilliant. You know it's bad when the musos get to that. Jeez, wow, amazing.
But you can hear that. I think it's like that lazy delivery is definitely something that kind of I think those two sharing like in common. Like I see a connection with that.
Yeah, well, that's the whole neo soul thing as well. Yeah, like that Eric is selling, and I guess it comes from that because it's the kind of that marriage of the jazz thing and the hip hop thing and soul as well, putting all three together, and then the resultant thing is just really lazy grooves basically. You know.
I was saying to Shantae, you know Shantae, don't you?
Yeah.
She's another one that was like one of the first people you introduced me to her.
Yeah. Oh right. Okay. That's cool.
But I was saying to her when we did our podcast, like neo soul was like a new thing to me. Like we got up in Natalie's jam. I think there was doing a Flowetry song. Which one was it? Say Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah. That's so typical, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So just like loads of minor ninths, and then maybe it's like what's going on?
Yeah. Like you know, they say like how do you make a Jill Scott song, and you pick one like you know stacked chord and you just move it to different places until it kind of sounds good. You know,
major sevens on everything.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I mean it sounds amazing, but like it's literally just. I had to transcribe one for a thing I was doing. Jill Scott song called "Getting in the Way."
Yeah.
And I was just trying to work it out for ages, and I was like, oh, hang on a second, it's literally just like.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like I don't think that's the right chords, but like you know, obviously on the bass I haven't got enough, but that's like minor 11 in like 4 different positions, and it's like, oh, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, because I was working that out for something as well, and I think Shantae was on about doing it in a podcast, like, but we didn't get around to that one.
Right.
But, I transcribed it, and it just takes a while to get your ear around.
Yeah.
Where that's kind of, but as soon as you do, you're like, because you're thinking diatonically, and
and
then when you really like throw that out the window.
Yeah, man. Well, it's the same back to that thing with D'Angelo, like being kind of deliberately, rhythmically, and melodically difficult, you know, and almost trying to throw kind of people off a bit and be like, this is a new idea of harmony that you have to conceive of, you know, to get inside and listen to this music, you know. But that kind of stuff is really cool. We've completely gone off the track with Incubus, I guess. But, you know, but like I don't know.
Do you know any Incubus tunes?
Yeah,
the one that I originally knew was Morning Glory, but cause I just like the echoey kind of guitar part.
Morning. Do you mean Wish You Were Here?
Sorry, Wish You Were Here. Morning Glory. That's fucking
Oasis.
Oasis. That's the name of the album.
Get out.
What was the name of the album?
Morning View is the album.
Morning View.
Yeah. It's morning something.
Morning
you know. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Wish You Were Here is wicked, man. But that's kind of a proper Einziger guitar part, because you don't really know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And he's got so many wicked parts with that, and that's what I think Ben Kenny as a bass player will kind of resonate with me so much, is because he's got this really amazing way of kind of tying together Mike guitar parts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of always dug his style, basically, and how he came from that hip hop background and then kind of brought in a rock thing to Incubus. And
I didn't realise
you know.
that's where it come from.
Yeah.
With Mike, what's his second name?
Mike Einziger.
Einziger.
Yeah.
I always like his tone as well. It's always got kind of like he had those PRSs, didn't he? At the time when everybody had PRS.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And then he had. Then he was using like Jaguars or something.
Jazz Masters. Yeah. I'm going to show like how stalkerish I am now about this time by knowing everything.
But the closer you can get to it, Strat's like kind of out of phase sort of thing.
Yeah,
it gets kind of slightly compressed, kind of weird.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Strat sound as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think kind of what happened was he did the PRS thing, and then they got away from kind of the really heavy stuff a little bit on like A Crow Left the Murder onwards. And so he started playing the Jazz Masters for that. But then he got like carpal tunnel in his hand, so he had to swap to smaller guitars with like thinner neck profiles.
Yeah.
So he went to Gibson SG Juniors.
Oh, right.
Which was kind of cool. And then he did these Music Man Big Al's,
yeah,
which I think he got from Ben Kenny as well, because Ben Kenny plays solo stuff where he plays all the instruments. He's just a ridiculous drummer, guitarist, singer, bass player, and he does everything and records everything. And then when he was touring, he kind of went from playing Les Pauls to playing Music Mans. I know so much about it, obviously, because I'm a massive Stalkery fan. But like, he did the Big Al's thing, and then now he plays like Telecasters, but like no name Telecasters. I think.
Does that, Ben Kenny?
No, Einziger.
Oh, Einziger.
Yeah. So it's kind of always had that like mid-range kind of scratchy tone and later on in his career and stuff, you know, but it really works for what he's doing, you know.
Before the podcast you were talking to me about Six Sad Little World. I like the big interlude in that. I think it's great, but the thing that always hit me about was the tone at the start. It's got like, and I can't really, I don't know if I can get close to it. Do you want to try it?
Yeah, let's do it. It kind of sounds a bit stratty, so maybe it is that, I don't know, but
no, I feel like it's a Jazz Master.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe it is a Strat.
You start it off, man. Sure. Such a wicked part, and then I love how they just stretch that out live as well, and it's just everyone solos and it sounds amazing.
That solo is because he got one of his things I always remember Einziger for is like all the he'd have like 5 boards of effects pedals.
So much, so crazy.
And you, in that solo he kind of goes through all these different ones. Like he always had that like kind of Chinesey sound sort of thing. Like,
well, he does like loads of artificial harmonics as well in like a whole solo bit. Like there's a whole bit that's just all like that bit that's like dun dun da ba It's all like artificial harmonics basically.
Yeah.
And it's like he's so precise with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But like, I love that bass line though, because like I was saying, it pulls together the whole thing, because it's like slightly different from the guitar part. If you check out what's going on, play the main part, right? The dum dum dum.
Oh yeah.
So like 1, 2, 3, 4. So like under those 3 chords, it's like a C sharp, or like add 9 or something like that, like a minor 9, and then like an A sus thing, and then an F sharp. So he's kind of playing an A under most of that, and then going to an F sharp. He's kind of tying it together with different bass notes and stuff.
Yeah, so you're kind of getting that kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And he's just, I mean, like, I just love his playing, man. And it's weird being into a guy who uses a pick quite a lot as well. Yeah. Because I was always like, it's the kind of, I think it's the bass player thing. You start off being like, you either learn to play with a pick for your whole life, and that's all you do when you're just grinding out root notes and stuff, or like you basically say, no, picks suck, just fingerstyle. And I was like that, being into guys like Flea and Tim Comerford and everyone who just used to play rock with their fingers basically. But then you kind of see, he's doing a pick and he's doing some cool stuff with it.
I think sometimes on a bass a pick's needed, like if you're going to do metal stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean, Rob Trujillo from Metallica is he's an amazing bass player, but I kind of think use a pick, mate.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
on metal you want that hard edge, or rock you want that hard edge, that kind of.
It's just being consistent as well, man. I mean, he's a bit of a special case because he's always played with like Ozzy Osbourne and Suicidal Tendencies and stuff, and he's always just been
Black Label Society
out.
as well.
Black Label, yeah, exactly. All those guys, and he's always been keeping up, I guess. And there's guys like Juan Alderete from the Mars Volta. Like he played in Racer X with Paul Gilbert, you know, and he's like keeping up with the shredding, doing the tapping and stuff, but all mostly fingerstyle. I think he plays with a pick as well. But with like Ben Kenny, it just wouldn't sound the same unless he had that kind of whole grindy palm muted thing, like that bass line.
Yeah.
Like there's so much more in it than just the notes.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, and also like there's other guys that are doing it you don't really realise, like you like back to Flea and the Chili Peppers thing, like Don't Forget Me. Do you know that song from By the Way?
No.
It's got the bass line that's like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do remember.
And it just doesn't sound the same without a pick.
No, exactly.
You know? So it's something you've got to have in your arsenal, and like that's why. And Ben Kenny's a wicked fingerstyle player as well. If you see him, it's kind of like anything with the old stuff that he does, playing the old bass players' bass lines who exclusively played fingerstyle. He used to do all that, and he'll play all that fingerstyle or slap bass if it comes up, but then play pick for the new stuff. And I think it really works. You know, it's a different tone, and it's and also if you look back to guys like Bobby Vega, like he's killing it, and he sounds so groovy, but just with his fingers, you know. Oh, sorry, just with the pick.
Just explain who Bobby Vega is.
So, like, big session player, basically, in like 70s and 80s. I don't know too much about him, but that's kind of a sort of a make-up monk thing of his style. That's not actually. So it's kind
that is more guitar-y, isn't it?
Yeah, it's guitar-y, but it's still like all the bass is there, but he's still got this kind of this grunt that's coming with all the notes, and also all the mutes in between that give it this kind of constant ghost note vibe. Yeah, you know, almost like a sort of like a Jeff Porcaro drum shuffle. But like on the bass, you know, Bobby Vega. And there's it's the bass line to Everybody Dance. You know that song?
Chic. Yeah.
So someone told me the other day that like that's not. I thought that was just a fingerstyle thing, but he's actually like he's kind of he's making like a pick thing out of his fingers and going like.
That's actually my favourite Chic song, I think.
Yeah, man.
Well, I've never learned a guitar part from him.
You're good, yeah. I think that's a bit of a blag of the bass line, but yeah, just things like that really interest me, you know. Just different guys playing things in different ways, you know. Yeah,
I just with guitar, I know when you get a bit of like kind of stuff to do with fingerstyle, like I always end up doing like some country stuff where you got like hybrid picking.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Wicked.
Yeah.
Nice. You can come on a gig and do that with me, man. That'd be amazing.
No, I can't, because that's the thing. It's like, so you have to do it every day, otherwise it doesn't work.
Oh yeah.
Another thing I was going to ask you about. You've been touring with a blues guitar player called Krissy Matthews. Krissy Matthews.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I saw some of the photos that you put up from the tours, because you've been playing some pretty cool places.
It's been really fun, man. It's been really cool. It's so I've been playing with Krissy for about a year and a half now. I started with him last year, and it's just really, really cool, boundary pushing music in a way. Like, through his whole the way I understand it, he might kind of completely correct me, but the way I understand it is like he's been so kind of into the whole like blues rock thing for like, you know, so many years of his career, and like so many just kind of doing straight shuffles and stuff, and like 1-4-5s and things like that.
The Bonamassa thing.
Kind of like key blues elements and stuff. But as he's gone further, he's kind of expanded his trajectory quite a lot.
That's good.
And now like in his music, there's like elements of punk, and there's elements of kind of jazzy stuff, and like just getting really heavy. Like we like just doing some kind of like death metal style drops for like literally just because he's like genuinely, and he's like, let's just try this and see what it sounds like, and that's been really cool. So for me as a bass player to kind of be doing that on like a session basis, it's almost like it's the closest I'm going to get to being in a band like the Chili Peppers or Led Zeppelin or Queens of Stone Age or them Crooked Vultures, who kind of just have the songs and then just go off on one, and they just kind of improvise and go a bit nuts and stuff. And playing with Krissy has kind of really realised that in my playing. It's really pushed me a lot.
Yeah.
But we did, in April, we did like a month on tour, and we did a few shows in Belgium. We did one show in Belgium, a few in the Netherlands, one in Holland, like 13 in Germany or something. And it was great, man. Like just Krissy's got kind of a pretty decent fan base out there in Europe, and so people coming out to the shows and stuff, and for someone touring at his level, we had a really, really good reaction pretty much the whole time.
Yeah. Did you like, I saw a thing where you were in front of like a festival crowd?
Yeah, so we did a festival a couple of weeks ago in Siegen in Germany.
Right.
Freak Valley Festival, which is like a psychedelic rock festival, basically.
They're serious about that shit out there.
They are, man. They love it. I mean they, like in Europe, I can't tell you the difference, man. Like they love their music. Like it's valued to so much more of an extent. That kind of Europe. But like it's just, you know, you go out there and everything, like from the hospitality to like the reception of the music to like your kind of, you know, your guarantee of like coming back, like all of those things are so much stronger over there.
Yeah. Well, they look after the artists and the musicians a lot better, don't they?
Yeah, man. I mean, I love playing in the UK and stuff, and it's great, and I've been really busy, like really lucky to be really busy around here. But like, you know, for here, it's like unless you're playing a wedding or something where everyone else is getting looked after as well, you don't really get put under that umbrella of people who are worth acknowledging. You know, if you're playing like a bar gig or something, or even if it's like an amazing like hotel gig or something where there's like a kitchen behind you that you've had to set up in front of, obviously you don't get any food or stuff like that, like little things like that. Whereas in Germany, it's like, or anywhere in Europe, it's like a given that you'll just get looked after.
The idea of not, for instance, like, I mean, there was a gig up north that was in this wine bar that I used to do. It was in Cheshire. And first time when we used to go there, we were doing the entertainment for a night, and the place is always rammed, and it's always like it's always like 10 bob millionaires, what we call them.
Like, of course. Money.
And first time you started playing there, like, you'd be like as many pints as you want for free.
Right. Okay.
Then a few months down the line, it'd be 2 pints.
Right.
Then further down the line, it'd be 1 pint. Then it would be, you get your soft drinks free. Then you had to pay for it.
Because they realised how much you could drink, man. That's
well, I think one guy in particular, Mr. Ian Marsh. Hello.
Yeah.
I think he's about 6'5", and he's ripped.
So he can do
so
it.
So he put away 20 pints, so it's ridiculous.
Amazing.
One day, and then
brilliant.
Like, well,
they have to be like, keep tabs on it.
But you get to a point where you're turning up at the place, you're gonna be there all night, and the guy won't offer you a drink. You're like, if you came to my house, I'd offer you like a beer or something. You know what I mean? It's such a weird, and it costs nothing for them. Like,
I know,
I don't know how much beer costs for a venue, but it could cost 50 pence for a pint, or probably less. Maybe
something,
I don't know.
Like that.
But
I don't know.
The idea that you would kind of start to get.
I know. It's because you're that awkward middle ground between staff member and like a punter, basically, except for the fact that you are essentially working for the venue. You know, but I mean, it's just and also like in the UK, I love playing covers gigs. I do it all the time. It's really good fun. You know, aside from the whatever like artists I'm doing, that's what I'm doing most of the time anyway, and I love it. But like, you know, you turn up to a venue and people want to hear stuff they know. Whereas in Germany, you saw that picture from that festival. Like, that's like, probably 800 to 1,000 people just all really getting into music they've never heard before.
Yeah.
They know that most people on the bill they probably haven't heard of.
Yeah.
Save for like the couple of headliners. Like, and they'll just go and people not in the UK are more willing to take a chance on music.
Do you know what? In general, I think when I first came to London, I only knew French and Spanish and Italian people. I didn't know any English people.
Right, okay,
just because of the flat that I was living in and stuff.
Yeah.
And what it strikes me as, and I suppose Germans would be the same, there's a total or a massive lack of the British cynicism.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're like, sometimes that can get a little bit chafing, like you want to have a moan or whatever.
Yeah,
or you're
yeah.
like, sometimes, like, that's an explanation of why the joke of, oh, but that's number one in Spain or whatever comes from. But because some of that, I've got a housemate, she's Spanish, and she has a Spanish radio on, and it's craziness, and it's just machine noises and weird, like, Eurovision songs and stuff like that. Good. But the other side of the coin is that they are ready to be. They don't judge when they're watching you. It's like Chanté was telling me about the difference playing to a white crowd and a black crowd. Like, a lot of crowds, like, from rock venues and stuff like that, you go in and play. First thing you're doing is judging whether they can like you. And then they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I know.
Whereas like the Europeans or the black crowd, or you get a thing where it's just like, let's have a good time. If you're rubbish, then they might pull you up on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a lack of cynicism, and as a northerner, I suffer from a particular
brand of cynicism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's genuinely about like the starting point as well. Like, if we go to see a gig in this country, we're kind of like, unless it's our mates or unless it's a band you already know, you're kind of like, right, I'm automatically going to assume that I'm going to be disappointed. So you've got to bring me out of that slump and then entertain me even further. So it's like, this is like the middle ground of being okay with things. In Britain, you start off like here, and you've got to be brought up to a level where it's like okay, and then you've got to surpass that and be entertained. Whereas like in Europe, I feel like they start on that level, and they're like, we're open to this. Yeah. Like we go out and experience music all the time as consumers, and we listen to music all the time, and we know that like we're gonna pay €15 for a band that we never heard of before, and the venue would not have booked this band if they weren't good. Yeah. There's like trust. Yeah. Which I just don't feel like we have over here.
No, it's a weird attitude.
So it's great. So I'm kind of really psyched to go out. We're doing Norway next month, which will be cool with Krissy.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then it's weird. I fly out like on the Friday in Norway, or Thursday, and we do a gig on the Friday night. And I come back, and then 2 weeks later, I'm back out in Norway again for like 3 days of gigs basically out there. So
I'd love to go and visit that area.
Yeah,
a friend of mine,
cool.
he does a lot of like music for he writes a lot of music for like TV programs and documentaries and stuff like that. And he's just gone. I just keep seeing on his Facebook. I haven't seen him in a while, but he's just gone to Iceland. He's rented a little house in the middle of nowhere in Iceland. And
Iceland's cool. I've played there once, man. It's a wicked place. Yeah. But it's the same hospitality as you get anywhere else in Europe. Like it's amazing. It's just a lot colder and a lot more barren. Yeah. Like it's a cool place, man. But that was an interesting gig.
Iceland's supposed to be a really amazing, like, futuristic place, isn't it? Because it's all geothermal energy.
Yeah,
and, like,
that's it.
Heated pavements and stuff like that.
Yeah, no McDonald's as well.
No McDonald's.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
What'd you do at 2:00 in the morning then?
Well, I don't know. It's this weird thing where like I don't know. This is completely off topic, isn't it? But like the whole McDonald's thing, they like got rid of it for some reason. I don't know if it's like a tax reason or health thing. Yeah. But then like now the last ever burger that was sold in a McDonald's in Iceland is like still preserved but it's in like a new fast food restaurant, I think.
Really?
But yeah, I don't think it's a McDonald's, and I don't think it's as bad.
Yeah.
For a number of like moral and ethical reasons, but like it still just amuses me thinking about we just we taken the bad burger and put it in a good burger place.
Oh, right. Okay,
I don't know, but who knows? I'll have to check those facts.
Let's figure out something to play. Because I know you've got to. We've gone a bit over, and you're going to be late, aren't you? Because you're doing some teaching. Man. It's cool. One of the things that I was talking to somebody about the other day, I did a gig with a guy who he plays. It's weird actually. I've got two friends who. That's all I've got. Two friends. Two friends.
Yeah, sweet, yeah.
Two friends who both play in the same band that I know them separately and didn't realise. But I saw them both last week, and they both told me about the same band. They're both playing for Martha Reeves.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, touring with a bass player and a guitar player.
Amazing. Cool.
I want to get them on the podcast, definitely.
Yeah. That sounds like
they've got some amazing stories about the Motown days. Like she talked about looking after Michael Jackson and Stevie Stevie Wonder as
Really?
children.
No way. That's
said some
amazing.
interesting things about Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Okay. I can imagine. Yeah.
She apparently she gets in my mate drives the van,
Right.
and he picks her up in the morning when they're touring or whatever, and she gets in the van with a glass and he pours her a Guinness.
Really?
She's really into her Guinness.
Guinness
So
in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a meal though, isn't it?
Exactly.
Guinness,
Yeah. It's a good way to start
breakfast.
off a tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's got loads of stories, and he gets these. He's a reading gig, which is why he got at the bass player.
Right. Okay.
Chris, and he said he gets, and I want to get him on because he's like, all bass players will start to kind of like, because all bass players are into the Jameson thing.
Yeah.
And it was Jameson on most of their stuff.
Right. Okay.
So
that's
he's
cool.
reading Jameson parts,
wicked.
but he's reading them off this yellow paper from the 60s that actually is
really?
the original. Somebody
No way.
scored Jameson parts.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so
Cool.
I really want to get him on to talk about that.
Yeah. Brilliant, getting to bring some artifacts as well, man.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be amazing.
But well, he doesn't get to touch them. You see, he's saying that MD puts the things down at the start of the gig in front of him. He's not allowed to touch them, and he takes them away. It's all like sellotapes with yellow paper. It's like,
wow, that's
handwritten.
crazy. That's heavy. That's
Yeah.
real heavy. Wow.
Yeah,
Sweet.
well, so they're touring Europe with Martha Reeves all the time, but she was famous with the
Dancing in the Street. Yeah. Watch it.
all that in his car. But Marvin Gaye wrote her that one because she fancied
cool.
Marvin Gaye. She was a receptionist originally.
Right. Okay. Cool.
But it's all Jameson. One of the parts that I always thought was Jameson, but I don't think it is Jameson.
No.
Is I Want You Back.
Yeah. So it's Wilson Felder, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the guy's name.
Yeah.
But then there's always this debate with it over like whether it was Jameson or whether it was this guy. But I think it's been pretty acknowledged to be him.
Well, they didn't write stuff down because Carol Kay, the bass player for the Beach Boys and stuff, she has a thing where that's her name, isn't it? Carol Kay.
Carol Kay,
she claims that some of the parts that are credited to Jameson, she did. Because the session papers are kind of all a bit sketchy from back then. And
exactly, yeah. A lot of people were uncredited, weren't they? But like that particular bass line, it kind of doesn't really sound like a Jameson line. Like it does have that kind of whole, it does have that whole Motown thing.
Well, that's
but
the
it's
thing.
almost
I was
a bit too busy for him.
That's right, yeah.
You know, but
and a bit clean sounding.
Well, yeah, he could get busy. That's the thing. But with that bass line, I mean, I don't know. There's so much like mythology around it. Apparently, like they say that apparently I've heard this one time, and there's like literally no verification for this. But apparently, the guy was just put a chord chart in front of him, and he like wrote that bass line off the chart.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Like so, it just said whatever A flat, over C, D flat, etc. And he just came up with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's so iconic now. And then they were like, all right, we'll put that on the piano as well, So I don't know if that's true though. But yeah, it's a wicked bass line though.
Well, I was saying to somebody the other day, like they were asking me about why is Motown and all that such a big thing for players, and I was saying like it's kind of the golden era of session musicians. Because it was kind of right at the start of when session musicians, they didn't get the recognition, but they were controlling and writing and cranking out stuff. Wrecking Crew in California a bit later and stuff. But to be in that kind of in the snake pit with the guys would have been amazing, to have seen it.
So good. Some of those guys have got stories talking about like the crazy baptism of fire of like the session scene and stuff, and just like. But then I guess we're only like we only know them as like legendary figures now because someone has kind of gone back and unearthed all that mythology.
Yeah, Shadows of Motown is an amazing documentary.
Exactly.
And the book, have you got the book, Jameson book?
No, I haven't. I'm terrible bass player for not having that book, but I need to get into it, man. Just need to, yeah, I know, because it's got all those transcriptions as well, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I think.
And then
it's
he's got
like all the forwards from guys like Dave Swift, and
Chuck
Pino
Rainey and stuff. Because
Yeah.
I think the book was done in the 80s, so some of the poses in the photos are like amazing. Like they're all kind of like.
There must be so much hair as well. Yeah, man, amazing.
But they're really good. It's a great book, and I think you get the CD and you can pan it either side for to get the guitar part.
Oh, cool.
There's a James Brown one that's like that as well, isn't there?
Oh, right, okay, sweet.
Should we try I Want You Back?
Yeah,
Let me see if I can remember. There's a guy called, I think he's called Louis Shelton, who played the guitar on it.
Okay.
And I was watching the video and trying to learn the part off, and it's got like the kind of.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's such a good part. Everything. I just love that record. It's like, I think there's a few songs that
Just
like.
trying to remember that before we jam it.
Yeah, of course. There's just a few songs like that that are just so iconic in terms of being a piece of popular music. Like, I think like that and Superstition and probably a few others I'm going to think of, but they're just like such kind of benchmarks for pop music. Yeah. And everything, I think everything has kind of followed them from there, basically. And it's either as good or worse, basically, Yeah. I think that's like the pinnacle. But anyway, let's do it. Yeah,
man. You set the tempo.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. wasn't trying to get resolved anything there.
No.
Yeah, so such a good bass line. It just like there's so much going on in that song.
Yeah.
It's so busy, but yeah.
If you want to hear the guitar part played better than that, check out. I think it's Louis Shelton. I Want You Back tribute.
Yeah, okay.
But it's, I love the guitar part now because it's got obviously got that on.
Yeah.
And then you got the third sliding around, which is an underused thing.
Yeah.
And then you've got that little.
Oh yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So.
Yeah. Because it's just the thought of those guys just kind of coming up with those parts on the fly from the chord chart. I don't know if that's true.
Exactly. I think it probably is because I don't think they had a lot of time. But you can see all the Hendrixy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because when you learn it, you're kind of seeing the chords in different shapes how you would normally learn. So if you've got the A flat, you're going to have to have a kind of A flat thing like that, and then you've got that little bit where it's going.
It's good for your voicings then.
Yeah, exactly. So you're learning all of that.
Sweet.
And I think that's it's something that I've tried to do more recently, and I think that's where the Hendrix thing. Yeah. Like if you get all, as I think I've said before, stuff like all the stuff like. All that sort of stuff is similar thing with kind of flicking around and Little Wing and all that sort of thing.
But he's just another guy that's really pushing the envelope, just a really exploratory guy, you know.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me that when he did when he was doing Electric Ladyland. Mm-hmm. Oh no, they wasn't telling me. I was watching it on. Have you ever watched Trailer Park Boys?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's this Canadian kind of comedy thing, so whatever. Okay. But they were interviewing Roger Mayer. Is that the guy? Who does his? The guy who was his technician and his engineer.
Okay. I'm not sure.
And he was saying like Hendrix would go and record later and later, and so when they set up Electric Ladyland, he'd be jamming at the bar around the corner, but he would always play bass.
Right.
And then he'd come in and play guitar.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, definitely.
How come? Do you know why?
I had no idea, but I think you just said that.
Okay.
Check it out, it's like Trailer Park Boys, Roger Mayer.
Okay.
There you go.
I mean, I know he played bass on Electric Ladyland. He played most of the parts on that because Noel Redding was just pissed off with him all the time. I guess.
I think he said he couldn't play it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, standard, one of those things. But you can kind of tell because some of the bass lines on that are like you can tell it's a guitar playing bass. Like, no disrespect.
Like Prince, when you Prince's bass parts, like have you heard that I'm Yours? Soft Dirty Man's thing, the first album.
Okay.
Well, the bass part on that my mate was doing. It's like a crazy improv thing at the end, but it's kind of like shredding, with a pick.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's like it's so hard to play as a bass player because it's not a bass part.
It's not bass. Yeah.
But it's like proper 80s cock rock metal.
Amazing. Oh, God, I'm such a.
Starts with this scream like.
Oh, good. What good Prince song doesn't start with a scream?
Yeah,
right?
it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing, man.
Anyway, I know you've got to get off because you've got to teach and we've gone over. But Sam, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for doing it.
And
yeah,
pleasure.
cool. Excellent.
Sure. See you next time.
Yes, dude.